We continue now at the top of Daf 65b Mesechet Kesuvos. This is Kesuvos Daf 65b. The Mishnah said that he provides her, that she is provided with shoes 3 times a year at the regalim and clothing once a year. And so the Gemara asks, it doesn't make sense. Haitana shliach artiloi v'rami mesani. What is this Tana? He's saying that she has to be naked but wear shoes. In other words, she's getting clothing only once a year and shoes 3 times a year. Rashi says, Haitana shliach artiloi v'rami mesani mufshad v'orim she'ein lo chalifas begadim, meaning to say she's naked, she has no clothing. Elam mishana l'shana, she only gets clothing every year. Umin alayim kamrim mimoed l'moed, and yet she's getting shoes every holiday. Ushar begadim lo ta'achlif v'moed, and when it comes to the begadim, she's not switching them on the moed, so that doesn't make sense. What's going on? And so the Gemara answers, Amar Lei said to him, Tana b'makom harim koi. Our Tana, the Tana of Mishnah, is living in a place, is talking in a place of mountains. It's not enough. You have to have at least 3 pairs of shoes because the shoes get ruined very quickly. And then while it's telling us this idea, it also teaches us that those shoes should be given to her at the holiday. That way she can have simcha when she receives them. She'll have simcha on the holiday. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. The Mishnah said, "V'kelim shel chamishim zuz." The clothing he provides should be worth 50 zuz. Amar Abaya says, "Chamishim zuzei pshite." We're talking about the simple zuz. Mimai, how do we know that? Midiktani, because it says in the Mishnah, "B'amed devar mamurim bo'ani shabi Yisrael." It says the Mishnah is talking about a poor person. Avol b'mechubed hakol lefi chvoda. But if it's a wealthier person, an honorable person, so he has to provide more. V'yisak g'dayta chamishim zuz mamish. Now, if we're talking about actual 50 zuz, so ani chamishim zuz minole, where's a poor person going to get 50 zuz from? That's a large amount of money. Rather, you see, we're talking about 50 simple zuz. Rashi over here says zuzei pshite, simple zuz, zuzei medina, shein sheminis shebezuz tsuri. These are 1/8. They're called zuzei medina, zuzim of the province, and they're 1/8 of the zuz tsuri. And again, that's what we're talking about in our Mishnah. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. It said in the Mishnah that we don't give her new clothing in the summertime because those are very heavy, they're too hot, and you don't give her worn clothing in the wintertime. Rather, you give new ones that are warmer. And the Gemara says, Tanu Rabbanon, the rabbis taught, Moser mizonos labal. Let's say there's extra mizonos left over, so then that goes to the husband. Rashi over here says, Moser mizonos kagon isha shemizonos ha'amurim b'mishnah seinu odfin la she'enu rav sanis. Let's say you have a woman, she doesn't need a lot, and the mizonos that are apportioned to her, it's too much, there's extra. That extra goes back to the husband. However, Moser belos l'isha. However, if there's extra in terms of the garments, that leftover garments, those garments belong to the woman. And the Gemara says, Moser belos l'isha lamala. What does the woman need the worn out garments for? Amar Rachva says, Shemeskasa behen b'mei nidasa. That's what she'll wear in the days that she is a nida. Kedei shalot tiskan al bala. That way she won't be repulsive to her husband. Rashi over here says, Shalot tiskan al bala b'mei tarasa, meaning when she's pure, she won't be repulsive because she'll have other clothing. But loveshes begadim she'll be mei nida. She won't have to wear the exact same clothing she wore when she's a nida. That's why these particular clothing, these worn out clothing, are useful. And the Gemara continues, Amar Abaya says, Naktinan, we hold as follows. Moser belos almana. Let's say you have the leftover worn out clothing of a widow. That doesn't go to the widow. That goes liyarshav. That goes to his heirs, those who inherit the husband who died. Because hasam hu delo tiskani biape hacha tiskani v'tiskani. Over there when he's alive, so we don't want her to be repulsive in front of him. But over here, let her be repulsive. It's not a big deal, and therefore she does not keep the belos. Rashi over here says, Moser belos almana hanizonos minichse yisomim. We're talking here about a widow who's getting mizonos from the property of the yisomim. V'alein litin lakelim shel chamishim zuz mishana l'shana. They're the ones providing these garments that are worth 50 zuz every single year. So again, they're going to receive the belos. And the Gemara continues at the 2 dots. Nosin la ma kesef v'chulu. The Mishnah said that he gives her a ma of kesef every single week, and it also said that she eats with him on Friday night. And the Gemara says, Maya ocheles. What does it mean she eats with him on Friday night? Rav Nachman Amar ocheles mamish. Rav Nachman said it means she actually eats. We're talking about an actual meal. Rav Ashi Amar tashmish. Rav Ashi says, no, we're not talking about food over here. This is a euphemism for relations. And the Gemara says, Tanan, we learned in the Mishnah, ocheles imo leili Shabbos. It says she eats with him on the night of Shabbos. B'shalom alamad amar achila. If we're talking about eating, that's why it says ocheles. It sounds like it means exactly what it says. But if you say we're talking about tashmish relations, why use the word ocheles? And again, the Gemara says, like we just said, Lishna Ma'alya, we're just using a euphemism. Like the pasuk itself uses this euphemism. It says, Achlo machsa pia, v'yamar lo palti oven. It says she eats and she wipes her mouth, and she says she didn't sin. This is talking about an adulterous woman. It's using the term of eating. It's really referring to adultery. So you see that eating can sometimes be a euphemism for the act of relations. And the Gemara continues, Mesa, we have the following question. Rav Shimon ben Gamliel Omer, Rav Shimon ben Gamliel says, Ochelas b'leilei Shabbos v'Shabbos. She eats with him Friday night and on Shabbos itself. Now, Bishlam alaman damar achila hainu dekatani v'Shabbos. If we're talking about an actual meal, actual eating, so that could be on Shabbos also she's eating with him. El alaman damar tashmish, but if the one who says that Ochelas really means relations, and Rav Shimon ben Gamliel is saying there's relations Friday night and Shabbos day, tashmish v'Shabbos mi'ika, is there really relations on Shabbos day? V'yomer Rav Huna, but Rav Huna said, Yisrael kedoshim heim. Hein, Klal Yisrael are holy. Vein meshamshin mitosein biyom. They don't have tashmish during the daytime hours. So therefore, what would it mean over here that they're having tashmish during the day on Shabbos day? And to that the Gemara answers, no. Ha'amar Rava said, bevayis afil mutter. If it's a dark house, it's mutter to have relations even during the day. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Vim haisa meinika. It said, let's say she's nursing, so then he provides extra mizonos. Darash Rabbi Ula. Rabbi Ula Rabba Pischa Devei Nasir. Rabbi Ula Rabba, he darshan on the entrance of the house of the Nasi, and he darshan as follows: Alpha Bisha Amru Ein Adam Zonas Bonav Uvenosov Keshein Ketanim. Even though a person is not obligated to give mizonos to his sons and daughters when they're young, Avol Zon Ketane Ketanim. But if they're very young, he is obligated to give them mizonos. And the Gemara says Ad Kam, until what age? Ad Ben Sheish, until they're 6 years old. And how do we know that? Kid Ravasi, like Ravasi says. Diyamar Ravasi says, Katan Ben Sheish, once a Katan is 6 years old, Yotze Be'erev Imo. Now, if his mother makes an Erev, he is part of that Erev. You see, that's when already he's with his mother. That shows that at a younger age, he's with his father. He has to be supported by his father. And the Gemara says, Mimai. So how do you know this is the case? Midiktani, because it says in our Mishnah, Haisa Meinika, Pochsin la Mimaisa Yodeh, Umosifin la Al Mezonaseh. It says that if she's nursing, meaning she has a young child, so then there's less obligation in terms of what she has to earn, and we add on to her Mezonos, we give her more Mezonos. So my time, what's the reason? La Mishum de Boy Lemechal Bado. Isn't it because she has a young child, and he's got to feed not only his wife, he also has to feed the child, exactly like Rabbi Ula is darshaning, that Rabbi Ula is saying that if they're Ketanim, they have to be supported. That is the proof. That is supported by our Mishnah. And the Gemara says, no, V'dilma mishum decholi. How do you know? Maybe the reason why he's giving more mizonos when she's nursing is not because of the child. It's not because he has an obligation to provide for the child. It's because he has an obligation to provide for her. And when she's nursing, she's considered a chola. She's considered sick. And the Gemara says, no, im kain listening haisa chol. If that was the case, the Mishnah could have said, if she's sick, she needs to get more mizonos. Mayim haisa meinika. Why does it say if she's nursing? It seems to specifically be talking about nursing, and therefore we're referring to the child. But the Gemara still says, V'dil mahakamash understand meinikos cholos ninu. Not necessarily. Maybe the Mishnah is trying to teach us that in general, if someone is a meinika, if somebody is nursing, she's considered a chola, she's considered sick, and therefore the Gemara ultimately says there's no proof one way or the other. We don't know if these extra mizonos are for her because she's considered sick, or are they for the young child because by a very young child, the husband has to support that child as well. And the Gemara continues, Itmar, it was said, Amar Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yehoshua ben Levi says, Mosifin lo yayin, when she's nursing, so we actually add on, when we give her more mazonos, we give her wine, Shayayin yofel l'chola, because the wine is good for the milk. When she's nursing the child, the wine will be healthy. Hadron aloch afalpi, we will return to you, Parak afalpi. And if you're enjoying these videos and this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. And please take a look at the description box below to see how you can support this channel. And we now begin the 6th parak of Mesechet Kesubos. The Mishnah says, Mitzias ha'ishu ma'isa yodeh lebala. Let's say the wife finds something or her earnings, that goes to her husband. V'yerushasa hu ochel peiros b'chayeh. And when it comes to, let's say, her inheritance, her property that she has, so he gets the fruit of that property while she is alive, he gets the peiros. And the Mishnah also says, Boshtu pagama shalo. Let's say she gets injured and she gets humiliated, so those payments, they go to her. Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Omer, Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira says, Bizman shebeseser. Let's say you have a situation where the injury was in a private area of her body, so lo shnei chalakim velo echad. So she'll get 2 portions of the payment, she'll get 2/3, and he's going to get 1/3 of the payment. Uvizman shebegole. Now let's say the injury happens in an exposed area, so that's considered a humiliation to the husband as well. So lo shnei chalakim velo echad. Then he's actually going to get 2/3 of that payment, and she will get 1/3. Shalo yinasin miyad. The payment that goes to him is given immediately. V'shallah, in her payment, yilkach ben karka. You use that money to purchase land. V'hu ochel peiros, and he gets to benefit from the peiros of that property. And the Gemara says, "My kamashmalon." What is the Mishnah teaching us? Tanina, we already learned it in an earlier Mishnah. The Mishnah said earlier, "Ha'av zakai bevito bekidusha bekesef ishtaro v'via." It said a father, he gets the kesef kiddushin, and the kiddushin, he has the reshus over the kiddushin of his daughter. Zakai b'mitziyasav v'maisayodeh, he gets that which she finds, the lost objects. He gets her earnings. Uvahafaras nedara, he has control in terms of annulment of her vows. Mekabel eskita, he's the one that receives her get. V'yeno ochel peiros b'chayah, and he does not eat the fruits during her lifetime. Nisis, now let's say she gets married, yeser olav habal, the husband has even more rishus than the father has, shuochel peiros bechayah, because he does get to eat the fruits during her lifetime. And so you see already from this earlier Mishnah that the husband is entitled to these items from his wife. And so the Gemara answers, Boshtu Pagam Mitzrichel. No, the Chiddush of our Mishnah is talking about the Boshus and the Pagam. Let's say again she's injured and there's humiliation. So those payments, that was a plug. So the Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira for Rabbanan. The Chiddush of our Mishnah is that there's a machlokus, like we saw in our Mishnah, between the Rabbanan and Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira in terms of who exactly receives those payments. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Tani Tana Kame de Rava, and Amora, who taught Brises, he taught the following in front of Rava. Mitzia so Isha liatzma. Let's say a woman finds something, so that belongs to her. Rabbi Kiva Amar Labal. Rabbi Kiva says no, it goes to her husband. Amar Le. So Rava said to the Tana, Hashta now. Umaha Dafif. When it comes to the extra part of her earnings, and we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Samich Vav Amud Aleph.